My name is Jeffrey Morgan, and I am for the bill, and I will say why I'm for the bill. First off, when two people get married, they get married by...
Are you representing yourself?
I am representing myself. My apologies for that. Yes, my name is Jeffrey Morgan. I'm representing myself. There's a few reasons that I'm for this bill. Number one, when two people get married, they get married by mutual consent. And Representative Ramos, earlier this year, you represented a bill that was annulling a forced marriage. We don't have forced marriage, but we can have forced divorce.
Please keep your comments only to this bill.
Absolutely. This is very much because we cannot have forced divorce. Unilateral divorce, in many instances, is forced divorce. And that's what I'm talking about. How to cut America's divorce rate in half, one of the suggestions is this. Just make unilateral, or just make no-fault divorce mutual consent. Right now, one person can be divorced against his or her will, and that is something that in no other instance do we have this taking place. Now, my involvement with no-fault divorce has been for probably 6-7 years. I've got about 200 to 300 videos online regarding this issue. Also, we had a petition before the Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court. They denied to hear it this year. But the issue at stake was the government actually taking viewpoint discrimination into effect? Because really, when you have unilateral divorce, one person says my marriage is insupportable, the other one says it isn't. The government always, the state of Texas always, the judges always side with the person who says it's insupportable. So that is a viewpoint discrimination. And I'd also like to go a little bit further and talk about this handout that I gave you. In Article 3, Section 56.13 of the Texas Constitution, it says this. It talks about prohibited local and special laws. The legislature shall not, except as otherwise provided in this Constitution, pass any local or special law authorizing the granting of divorce. So by authorizing unilateral no-fault divorce and insupportability, you have created a special law which you are forbidden from the Constitution to do. A special law is a law that applies to a particular place or a member of a class that they get like a special privilege with it. The petitioner always wins. There is no defense when you have unilateral no-fault divorce against you. That's very easy to prove. Go back in the last 5 years and show me how many cases were denied. See, Representative Ramos thinks that, well, if two people want to get a divorce, the issue is not that. The issue is when one person does not want a divorce, maybe they're struggling. When you have a marriage that comes together, there should be some type of legal protection to it. And once again, this whole idea that you can even create a special law is forbidden by our Texas state constitution. In addition to that, Justice Kem Thompson-Frost back in 2001 in Waite versus Waite actually stated that the unilateral no-fault divorce and insupportability was unconstitutional in her dissent with the other two justices that were there because of religious liberty issues. Marriage was not originated by human law. All the duties and obligations that have existed between husband and wife existed between those husbands and wives before civil government was formed. When you have unilateral no-fault divorce, people get married in the Catholic Church. They go through a whole process. And the doctrine of the Catholic Church says the marriage is insupportable. The state of Texas to come along and say, well, you know what, we're going to interfere with this religious sacrament, this religious ordinance. We're going to say that, you know what, whatever vows you took mean nothing. You can look at contract law. You can look at the vows that were taken. This is also a very much a religious liberty issue. There is no compelling state interest for governmental intrusion onto the rights of conscience in matters of religion. And because there are less restrictive alternatives, rather than granting a divorce, the Texas Family Code Section 6.001 is unconstitutional and cannot stand. This, again, is written by Justice Kem Thompson-Frost in 2001 in Waite versus Waite. So there are a number of reasons to oppose this and why I support it. Now, Representative Ramos talked about...
Thank you for your testimony.
Okay. Is my time up?
Yes.
Is there a timer here that I could...
We did have it here, but the audio didn't go off, but we'll make sure. Members, are there any questions for this witness? Chair recognizes Representative Ramos.
Mr. Morgan, so you're not for forced divorces. I understand that. Is that
I am not for forced divorces.
So then are you for forced marriages? Because that's the alternative that you're requesting, a forced marriage.
No, that is not the alternative. That is a false question that you're asking. Forced marriages come at the beginning. Now, if a person wants to leave, he or she can leave. But the person who leaves the marital estate should not get to plunder the marital assets. And by the way, the SMU paper that lobbyist Stephen Bresnan had commissioned, this talks about the case of against no-fault divorce. This is a train wreck of illogic. That doesn't talk about no-fault divorce. They talk about, as you mentioned, domestic violence. Domestic violence is a fault-based reason for divorce.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, members. Any other questions? Okay, thank you for your testimony.
No, I think Representative,
Chair recognizes Representative Cook.
Are you suggesting this is a financial issue? You said that they shouldn't get a plethora of the assets, is that correct?
what I'm saying is this, there's a couple of things. Number one, the legislature was forbidden.
I just asked you a
Right.
yes or no question. Are you suggesting your position is basically a financial issue?
No, I say
Thank you.
that is
Thank you,
included.
sir.
Thank you for your testimony.
I would welcome any other testimony, questions. By the way, I did get the Divorce Reform Activist of the Year in
Thank you, thank you.
2019.
Thank you.
So I'm willing to,
Congratulations.
thank you so much.